In this video, I will show you how to prepare the data you get from group coding for analysis in SPSS, which is a statistical software program that will allow you to assess the performance of your group coders. You will first select the conversation that you want to analyze. All told, you'll probably need to assess your coders with at least 12 conversations, because that guarantees that there'll be enough opportunity for them to choose codes that are less frequent in conversations, and the analysis you're going to do needs to have data for all the different codes in the MITI. So I'll show you how to do one, but I recommend you do this for probably 15 of the conversations that your group coders code. So I've selected the conversation I want to prepare for analysis by clicking the radio box to the left of the conversation. Then I'm going to click Report, and I'm going to click Survey Results for the report type. Next, I'm going to click Download.csv, the button on the bottom right corner of the page. And I'm going to save the file to my desktop. I'm going to open the file. The way that Poll Everywhere presents the data is they will tell you who the two coders were, and then they'll tell you how they responded to each utterance. The next step is to open up the downloaded template file that's provided in this curriculum. That includes, it's the template to prepare results from Poll Everywhere for analysis in SPSS. There are instructions in this document on one of the worksheet pages, but I'll describe everything you need to know in this video. There are gray fields. These are calculated fields, or fields that don't get edited, so you don't need to bother with them. You're going to fill out the information in the white cells. The first thing I would do is save the template so that you can keep the original template for other analysis. So I'm going to call this one Group Coding for June 2017. Each row is a different conversation, and the columns represent the different measures in the MITI and up to 4 coders that you had coding that conversation. So for example, GI1 would be coder number 1, and I would just arbitrarily assign my coders a number from 1 to 4 if there were 4 of them. So GI1 would be the first coder, the number of times that they coded giving information in conversation number 1. And this cell would be the number of times that the second coder, or the other coder, coded giving information in conversation number 1. Going to the conversation, I'll assign Alexandria Goff as coder number 1. I'm going to first count how many times she coded giving information. My second coder, Rhea Hollis, I'm going to count how many times she coded giving information. Next, I'm going to count how many times the first coder coded a question. And then I'm going to count the number of times the second coder coded question. Next, I'm going to count how many times coder number 1 coded simple reflection. And the number of times that coder number 2 coded simple reflection. The number of times that coder number 1 coded complex reflection. And the number of times that coder number 2 coded complex reflection. The number of affirms coded by coder number 1. And the number of affirms coded by coder number 2. The number of emphasizing autonomy coded by coder number 1. The number of emphasizing autonomy coded by coder number 2. The number of confronts coded by coder number 1. The number of confronts coded by coder number 2. The number of seeking collaboration coded by coder number 1. The number of seeking collaboration coded by coder number 2. The number of persuade with permission coded by coder number 1. And the number of persuade with permission coded by coder number 2. The number of persuades coded by coder number 1. And the number of persuades coded by coder number 2. The score given for cultivating change talk by coder number 1. And the score given for cultivating change talk by coder number 2. The score given for softening sustain talk by coder number 1. And the score given for softening sustain talk for coder number 2. The score given for partnership for coder number 1. And the score given for partnership for coder number 2. And then the score given for empathy for coder number 1. And the score given for empathy for coder number 2. You can see that the summary scores are automatically calculated when applicable. There were no MI non-adherent. This shows MI adherent, which is a combination of seeking collaboration, affirm, and emphasizing autonomy. This shows the total number of reflections, the reflection to question ratio, the technical global, the relational global, and the percent complex reflections. What you'll need to do is, for these two coders, repeat the process for, I recommend, a total of 15 conversations. Each conversation would occupy a row in this table. Here you can see I've completed entering data for 15 conversations by the two coders. This file is now ready to send to someone who knows how to use SPSS and can analyze the data for calculation of the intraclass correlation coefficient.